Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. My name's Addison, and to my left I got Norman and Albert.
What's up?
We're without Nate. We're probably going to be without him for good now. But let's go ahead and jump right in. Let's do a recap of last Thursday's game, and then we'll go into some games coming up this week. So starting off, we got Philadelphia and Green Bay. Let's go ahead and pull up some of those stats we got here. Aaron Rodgers was 34 for 53, 422 yards with 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Carson Wentz, 16 for 27, 160 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Just looking at it, it was a great game. A lot of scoring on both sides. Jordan Howard emerged, had 2 touchdowns, 87 yards, 15 carries. Miles Sanders behind him, 11 carries, 72 yards. And on the other side of the ball with Green Bay, we have Aaron Rodgers, who had 5 carries, 46 yards. Aaron Jones, 13 carries, 21 yards. 21 yards, 13 carries. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot just saying by itself. 1 touchdown. Geronimo Allison had a carry. And let's see. And on the receiving part, we have Zach Ertz, Alshon Jeffries, Jordan Howard, Dallas Goedert, and that's just to wrap it up right there. Zach Ertz, 7 catches, 65 total yards receiving. His longest one of the day was 14. He had 8 total targets. Alshon Jeffries, 3, 38, and 9. Jordan Howard, 3, 28. And Jeffries and Howard both had him a receiving touchdown, and Goddard had a receiving touchdown. So that's both of them. So this week, going in, Zach Ertz hasn't had a touchdown all season. Mm-hmm. Where do fantasy owners start to go and think
No.
Is he a bust?
Stick with him.
Yeah.
Stick with him.
You don't panic. You
Okay.
don't bench a top 3 tight end just because he don't score any touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
What you need to be looking at is the fact that he's getting tons of targets. This is the least amount of targets he's got in the whole game this season. So he's fine. He'll get a touchdown when he gets a touchdown. That whole Philly offense is banged up, so he's having to do more. So he's getting harder coverages. But there's no panic there yet. There's no panic.
How do y'all feel about Philadelphia? I mean, first half of that game they were struggling against Green Bay, and they came back and they ended up beating Green Bay, and that was easily to say that it was Aaron Rodgers.
They could have lost the game.
Yeah, it was Aaron Rodgers' best game.
Packers didn't look good. Like the whole
Their
game.
defense didn't look good.
Yeah,
in the second half.
defense.
Yeah, they look like prior years past defense.
Yeah,
they look really good week 1, week 2. This past week it wasn't that great, but Aaron Rodgers looked more like Aaron Rodgers. So,
but Devontae Adams actually got some catches this time.
Quite a bit. 180 yards.
It's about time.
He put it out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They played well.
I mean,
offensively.
He probably would have had more if he wouldn't have got injured.
Yeah.
Right?
There's just something to be said because you have a potential good defense, and we know they have a good offense. So if they put that together, watch out NFC.
Mm-hmm.
But
how do you feel about the division with Philadelphia? Cowboys. Is that division wide open, or is it
Yeah, it's wide open, and we'll see what the Cowboys have because they gotta play Green Bay this week. And I really think that Green Bay should be favored. I don't see the Cowboys doing much against them.
Yeah.
But it's not wide open. I mean, that division is going to be either Philly or the Cowboys. It's not going to be the Giants. It's not going to be the Redskins. I know Daniel Jones is playing well, but no, I think it's the Cowboys to lose.
Mm-hmm. I think the Cowboys had a lot of opportunities against the Saints, and they didn't capitalize. I think.
Wait, you want this game?
No, I'm talking about just the Packers game next week in general.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Cowboys had a lot of opportunities and they didn't capitalize against the Saints. So going into their next game against the Packers, what do you think since you think the Packers should be favored, what do you think the Cowboys should do to change the game script and make it where they should win the game?
They need Michael Gallup back. He's practicing. He might play come up this weekend.
Yeah.
The targets. They need to get Zeke involved.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I agree with that.
You paid him all this money, and
he's not getting
the rock nearly as much as he should, or he has. And I understand that you want to get that going, and he's been looking good, but he didn't look that great Sunday night.
Yeah, I didn't think he looked like Zeke usually does play, and he hasn't looked like Zeke all year. I mean, he hasn't had a big game where he's 25 carries, 180 yards
carries.
rushing.
He had 18 carries, 35 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Yeah, I mean that's not Zeke numbers.
Yeah, that's
and
not Zeke.
So let's go back to the Eagles side. Who do they play coming up this week? The Jets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what do the Eagles, what do they have to do going against the Jets? The Jets, they haven't really done anything all year. Sam Darnold is he playing this week or did he play last week? He played last week.
No, it was a bye last week.
It was a bye last week? All right, so they're coming off the bye. Fresh legs, Le'Veon, he'll be ready. I'm expecting him to get at least 20 carries this game, ground and pound.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk about another recap game that we're going to talk about here. We got the Panthers and Texans. We'll go ahead and bring their recap up. Norman, give us some stats from the Panthers and Texans.
Okay. Kyle Allen had 24 throws, completions, and 34 attempts for 232 yards, 0 touches, 0 interceptions, 3 sacks for a minus of 29 yards, and Deshaun Watson had 21 completions for 33 attempts, 160 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions, 6 sacks for 32 minus yards.
Yeah.
Okay. For running backs, Christian McCaffrey had 27 carries, 93 yards, and 1 touchdown. His 13 was the longest run he had. Let's go.
Okay, so in essence, this game, this is what happened. McCaffrey's an animal.
Yeah,
Kyle Allen can't throw the ball for more than 5 yards at a time, and Deshaun Watson got sacked 6 times. That defense came up, and they played better. I hate to say it, but
agreed.
CMC, 10 targets, that led the whole team. I mean, he is going to be the heartbeat, and it's better to have him back there with a less talented quarterback, Kyle Allen, because he doesn't have that big ego that Cam does. Mm-hmm. So they rely more on their actual talent, which is CMC, run the ball, go back to the run and pound game.
Yeah, and it looks
Well, Christian McCaffrey had 10 daggone receiving yards and 86 yards. 10 receiving catches and 86 yards, yes.
And it looks like Jarius Wright had the longest play of the day through the air, 27-yard pass caught by Jarius Wright. Only had 6 targets, but he pulled in 5 of those, which is good.
Yeah.
DJ Moore behind that with 5 targets, pulling in 3 receptions for 44 total yards receiving. Curtis Samuel had quite a bit of targets, 7 targets, only 3 receptions, only had 32 yards receiving. So, and Greg Olsen, all reliable, 4 targets, 2 receptions, only 5 receiving yards. So yeah, that's a.
What shocked me the most was containing Hopkins to just 41 yards.
Yeah, and he only had 8 targets.
That's still a lot of targets.
Yeah, but for number 1 on a team that throws the ball, I mean, you're expecting 10 or 12 targets a game.
No, I think it's a lot of targets. I mean, if you get that many targets, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Devontae got it this week, but that rarely happens.
Yeah.
Julio might get that here and there. If you own him in fantasy, what do?
You start to worry. You start to worry about his production this year because you've seen in the years past that he's been pretty reliable as a fantasy wide receiver number 1. And, that's a lot of people's problem this year with a lot of certain wide receivers like Odell, Juju. You got DeAndre Hopkins. A lot of wide receivers, big-name wide receivers are not,
Hopkins for the whole year has 259 yards and 2 touchdowns and 24 catches. That is not acceptable. That's 4 games.
That's 4 games. That's over a quarter almost of the season.
It's better than Devontae Adams.
It is.
Yeah.
Quarter, yeah.
But
so, I think you're fine with him. I wouldn't panic with him.
Yeah, but his yardage for the whole season usually racks up about 1,400 to 1,300 yards.
Averages like 90 a game.
Yeah, he averages usually about 90 yards a game.
Hopkins.
Yeah,
Hopkins.
So going back to the Russian part of the game. Talking about Houston, Carlos Hyde, 12 carries. Yeah, he led the team with carries, 12 carries, 58 yards.
It's a little misleading though, because he did break one away from 25 yards.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, his longest one was 25. And then you have Duke Johnson with 6 carries, 58 yards, and his longest was 40 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Watson, 3 carries, 12 yards, 1 touchdown. And Kiki Kuti, 1 carry, 10 yards, no touchdown.
I mean, that front seven looked good. They stopped them all around. They put pressure on the ball. They covered the gaps. I mean, obviously they had 2-3 plays that got away from them, but that's they were a 5-point underdog in this week's game.
And what about your boy Kyle Allen making the top 10 on SportsCenter on the little move JJ Watt? That was a good little move, little shimmy.
That was.
So we're gonna go into the games they play this week. Carolina plays Jacksonville, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plays all the Minshews.
The Minshews.
Yep. And Houston, who they play this week? Let's see.
Well, let's focus on one game at a time.
Yeah.
So let's go to Jacksonville and Jaguars, right?
Okay.
And I mean Jacksonville and Carolina.
Yep.
So we have the Panthers at 3.5-point favored. Cam's not going to be there again.
Yeah.
That D line for Carolina
Personally,
looks good. You feel better about it?
Yeah, I feel better about it.
I
hate to admit it though.
I mean, I understand. I just don't like the backlash that he's getting. I mean, he had a good career with them.
Yeah.
And he's clearly hurt. He's definitely more talented than Kyle Allen. There's less game tape on Kyle Allen, and he can't throw the ball as hard as Cam Newton. However, he is more accurate, and he actually does his reads.
Yeah.
He does his progressions, and he sees the open player. Cam just gets stuck on something, and again, his shoulder, his ribs, his foot, he's not okay.
Yeah.
So it's, again, I do think that they have a better chance to win with Kyle Allen
Than Cam right now.
Yes, but my only issue is
because Cam's
the fans. No, the fans just with the backlash, like take this guy out of. Yeah, I mean,
in a way.
If you're really a fan, through good and bad, you stick up for your quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Dolphins fan, and I still,
It's sad.
Yeah, it is. But we'll come around. But I'm not backlashing. I don't talk bad about them, but they definitely talk bad about Cam and.
So let's talk about some players for the Carolina and the Jacksonville game. So Leonard Fournette, over or under 100 yards rushing?
Under.
Great.
Yeah.
Over 1 touchdown.
Fournette.
Under or over?
He might score.
1. So
I'm gonna say
maybe.
under. I don't think he scores.
Okay. I mean, he might. I mean, that's just. But the yardage, I think he stays under. That front seven will stop him.
Minshew,
That's what I want.
250 passing yards, over under.
Over.
Over?
I want to agree with that too.
Over.
I'm gonna say under.
I want to agree with that.
I'm gonna say 250 or under. So I'm gonna say maybe about a little bit less than 250, but I'm not gonna say he goes off.
How about Kyle Allen? I mean, this is gonna be a good defense. Jalen Ramsey might not play. He's again, quote unquote, sick today.
I'm gonna say under 250 yards.
I'm gonna say under 200 yards passing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Me too.
How about McCaffrey?
I'm gonna say he has a rather decent day. I wouldn't say a breakout day, but
Not
I
like
think
last week.
Yeah, not like last
That's
week.
just hard to do again.
Yeah. I'm gonna say he has 100 rushing yards, 1 rushing touchdown, 75 passing yards, receiving yards, no touchdown. So 1 touchdown,
That's a hell of a game.
175
That is
yards.
good. It's a
But
good
that's
game.
that's a 20-point fantasy. That's a 20-point fantasy game. Just
24.
about. Yeah.
It's a lot.
But I'm giving him a lot on the
You
receiving.
gave him 170 yards.
I'm giving
altogether.
him. I'm giving him a lot of extra yards on the receiving. I think the rushing yards will be easy. I think he might have a problem doing it on the ground through the air.
Right. Yeah. Dump it off. And he feels confident with McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And who wouldn't? I mean, I can get 200 yards if I just throw to McCaffrey all day long.
So, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, and Jarius Wright. Who do you think has the big game today, or a big game of the week this week?
I don't think it'd be a big game. I think you're looking at Samuel and Moore at about 60 yards.
At about 60?
I think that Moore's going to get more targets, but I think you'll have the big play with Samuel.
Get the touchdown. Get
Who
a touchdown maybe.
do you think will get a touchdown? Do you think anybody will get a touchdown this week?
McCaffrey.
You think it'll be just 1 touchdown?
McCaffrey and Greg
That's
Olsen.
reasonable. Greg Olsen, yeah, agreed.
That's what I'm going at.
I can agree with that.
You want to avoid that secondary. You just want to. I wouldn't throw their way. It's going to be a good test for Kyle Allen to see how good he really is. And then you have, Houston going. Well, not going. They have Atlanta coming to them. That's a 5-point favorite again for Houston. What's going to happen here, you think?
In Houston and Atlanta?
Atlanta and Houston.
I think Houston.
Well, is it time to panic with Atlanta? They are.
Yeah.
Devontae Freeman not doing so well.
Yeah, Ito Smith doing pretty decent, having a pretty good game last game. I don't know. With Houston, they just didn't play good against Carolina like I expected them to. It's hard to tell. It's hard to say.
I think we're just not giving enough credit to Carolina. We've always known how good that defense is.
But with a backup quarterback playing this good, it's kind of different to expect a backup quarterback to beat a number one offense like that. It's just I don't know what to expect coming out of Houston now. If they're going to play good against Atlanta or if not.
I think Houston's going to win it. I don't think Atlanta will. I think that Houston is more talented. There's just something going on in Atlanta, and we don't know what it is. But even I know you said that Ito had a good game, but he had 2 rushes for 11 yards.
Yeah.
And one came on a 10-yard rush. I mean, he's not playing well. Freeman, he caught the ball well. He didn't rush the ball well.
Yeah. Matt
Ryan he's throwing the ball too much. He really is. It's 53 attempts last week against Tennessee. Now, Tennessee's defense isn't, a pushover either. I mean, they held Cleveland game 1, but, it's any Sunday. I hate to say it, it's so gimmicky, but it is the truth. And then you still have, Hooper playing really well for Atlanta.
Yeah, he's having a breakout year as a tight end. He's really emerged as a number 1 tight end in the fantasy leagues.
11 receptions for 130 yards. That's somebody that went under the radar, but and I just think that having his team makes his supporting cast makes Hooper better, because you have Calvin Ridley, you have Julio Jones, you got Devontae Freeman you got to worry about. So you focus on them, and then Matt Ryan, being as smart as he is, he's going to throw the ball to the open player, which ends up being Hooper.
Yeah.
It's not like he's a Travis Kelce talent-wise. It's just that Matt Ryan's doing the right play every time. And
he's making the right reads.
Yeah, and then I know you like A.J. Brown a lot, and Derrick Henry had a good game again. Well, 27
attempts, 100 rushing yards. That's a lot of attempts. But they were up the second half a lot, so they were just kind of running the clock out, ground and pound. But you kind of expected to see a touchdown in those 100 yards for Henry, But he's a touchdown bust every week. But his attempts and his yards help out with it.
It does. You're right. Then we have Minnesota and Chicago.
Yeah. You want to go over the stats for Minnesota real quick?
Nothing really to talk about. Kirk Cousins is still below average, mediocre. Chris Daniel looked better than Trubisky. Shocker. Sorry, Carolina fans. Dalvin Cook got held, but Chicago showed how good their defense is. Montgomery, led the rushing yards, and rightfully so, he's better. But when it came to receiving, I think Tariq is still a better pass catcher, but they give him more, same amount of targets, and that didn't go over too well. For Minnesota receiving, Stephon Diggs 108 yards, that was good. He played well. Adam Thielen, 6 receptions for 6 yards. He got missed on a deep ball. Kyle Rudolph just open. I can understand their anger. Stephon Diggs asked for a trade. Adam Thielen called out his quarterback.
Yeah.
Cousins apologized.
He's not
as good as they think he is. He's not bad, but when the running game isn't going, you need to pass the ball. And he can't rely on Dalvin Cook having a monster monster week every week.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. Now, again, I don't think they should hit the panic button, because it was the Bears' defense. And they just
tore up.
They're
Minnesota
incredible.
Vikings.
They are incredible. But I do understand his frustration. There was pressure on him all day long.
You want to go over some of the Chicago stats real quick right here? We got sacks and all. Just to look at all the solo tackles. Let's see. Let's see how many times he got sacked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, He got sacked 6 total times. I mean, it feels like he got sacked more, but tackles for loss is what gets me. He has had
And hurry ups too.
yeah, hurry ups. I mean, they were just all over the Minnesota Vikings.
They got a good offensive line too.
Yeah.
And still, it just wasn't happening. It was an old time game. You know, a lot of defense. Nothing much more about it.
So, Chicago, who they play this week?
I don't know.
Let me see what we got here.
I'm sorry, guys. We had this pulled up.
Okay.
Here it is. I found it. The Bears are playing Oakland.
The Bears are playing Oakland. You expect the Bears to just walk off with that game?
You should never expect that.
Well, should never, but their defense has been playing really well.
I agree.
And, you know, Raiders haven't looked bad, but they haven't looked outstanding this year.
They have a good offense.
They have a good offense.
They move the ball well. They do some things. So it might put some pressure on the Bears, but I do expect, obviously, the Bears to win. Not obviously, but not walk over. But Khalil Mack bringing back his old team.
It's going to be a redemption game.
Oh
you
man,
think.
yeah, another one. He loves it. He just yeah. I don't see much.
Early score predictions?
Yeah, if Chase Daniels plays, I'm gonna say Bears 17, Oakland 7.
It's a reasonable score. I'm going to say Bears 21, Raiders 10.
I can see that.
You got a score for us, Lauren?
I'm gonna say Bears 21, Raiders 17.
That's
A little
close.
closer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side of things, Minnesota goes against New York this week, the Giants, and it needs to be a good game for Kirk Cousins if he wants to keep everybody happy in Minnesota.
This is his time.
He needs to step up.
It's a game that he has to win. I mean, they have their backup quarterback, which is the future of the franchise.
Yeah.
But still, it is their backup quarterback. They have no Saquon Barkley. If he doesn't win this game, I'd say you hit the panic button.
And this is Golden Tate's return game for the Giants, and they just signed him for a 4-year $34 million deal, which you expect him to get some play time, some shares of that offense.
Yeah.
And they've won. The Giants have won the last 2 games, right?
They have, yes.
They have beat Tampa Bay, and they have beaten who else?
Redskins this past
Redskins
week.
Yeah,
this past
watched
week. So Tampa Bay, who played against the Rams, did really well this past week. They're obviously not a pushover team, and
No.
they'll give you a
They
game.
beat the Panthers.
They beat the Panthers, and for Minnesota going against the Giants, who's won the past 2 games, Giants they're probably thinking they can take on the Minnesota Vikings and win.
They can.
If Kirk Cousins doesn't play to his,
I think the Giants will win.
yeah, I don't.
Personally.
I think in personally, I think the Vikings have the better team because of so many, Saquon being out, so many, guys not ready. But anything can happen. We know that, and I think if Kirk Cousins plays like he did this past week, I think the Giants win.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. My question is, how is Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs gonna do? Like, what do you guys think is gonna be a reasonable
Stat
yardage?
track.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start with Dalvin Cook.
Okay.
I think he'll have 150 total yards and 1 touchdown.
Wow. Okay.
That's receiving and rushing. 150 total yards and 1 touchdown.
I give him 125 total yards and 2 touchdowns. We want to do Stephon Diggs. I give him 2 receptions, 4 targets, and no touchdown. Adam Thielen, I'd give him 6 total targets, 4 catches, and maybe 1 touchdown.
I think.
How many yards? You never said yards.
Oh, yards. 73.
I think I'll give Dalvin Cook 85, no touchdowns.
Total yards.
Yeah, I think they're gonna try to run the ball. I mean, pass the ball.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, I think they're gonna try to pass the ball. I think you made Dalvin Cook happy. The teammates are calling out Kirk, and he wants to redeem himself. So Stephon Diggs, he's mad. I'm gonna say he gets 85. Thielen gets 100, and other players dump off. Yeah, I'll give Dalvin Cook about 120.
Mm.
But that
I
puts,
was-
you know, Kirk Cousins at about like 250 passes.
I was putting Dalvin Cook more as the receiving yards. I think Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, I think they both have a lot of targets this week.
Mm-hmm.
I think they changed the game plan because they're going
Yeah.
against, you know, a team that's banged up. I think they try it. I think the Vikings, I think Stephon Diggs has at least 9 or 10 targets. And Thielen both at least 9 or 10 targets.
have
Because they're
to.
complaining.
Yes, because they're complaining and they want to win.
Yeah.
They have lost against, you know, teams.
Wow.
You know, they lost against Chicago, against Chase Daniels.
That was the issue there, and that offense is so
Like-
good. It should be so good.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
You brought Kirk Cousins in for this
Mhm.
5-year deal. You know, money, making a lot of money, and he's not did
Producing.
anything yet.
He's not
Yeah.
producing.
Case Keenum did better than
I was
him.
about to say you should bring him back.
Like for
Not
real.
He is
really.
not doing anything in Washington.
It don't matter. He don't have anybody
You
in
don't
Washington.
have anybody in Washington.
Yeah.
You
And
bring him
listen-
back to Minnesota.
and
He
you
knows those
save
guys.
money. You have so much money saved from just keeping.
I think
Case
you just
Keenum.
trade him back. Just trade him back. He goes back to Washington. He goes back to Minnesota.
Please help him out. I mean,
All right.
that's what I think.
So,
What's the next game for us?
let's
Speaking,
go ahead.
actually, you know what? Speaking of like big teams that spend a lot of money, let's jump over to the Rams.
Okay, I'll pull up their stats.
Yeah, Jared Goff.
Look, Goffle
Goodness.
Okay,
never gets old.
here we go. All right, Buccaneers and Rams. What a game.
Buccaneers won.
Yeah.
They are so unpredictable, and it's so strange to watch the Rams play because you feel like they spent so much money on that team the past 2 years, like all these contracts.
Mhm.
I mean, Gurley, like they didn't even have to sign Goff yet, and they signed them to
Mhm.
crazy money, and it's on defense and on offense, and it's like how are these guys still under the salary cap? Like,
It's crazy.
how does that even work? And now you see that Gurley isn't going, and they're not going either. That defense, like, Tampa Bay put up 55 on you.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's crazy. All right. So let's go over some stats real quick. Jameis Winston, 28 for 41 for 385 passing yards, 4 total touchdowns, only 1 interception. He got sacked twice. His longest sack was 9 yards. Jared Goff, on the other hand, 45 for 68, 517 total passing yards, 2 total touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 2 sacks, 27 total yards. Okay, let's go back to this. Let's go back to LA's Russian that we're talking about with Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley, 5 carries, 16 total yards, and 2 touchdowns. So yeah, 2 touchdowns will save your day in fantasy anytime.
Yeah, well, this is about football.
But this, if we're talking about football,
Mhm.
you should be worried about Todd Gurley.
Mm-hmm. But your whole running, like you rushed it 11 times.
Yeah, and nothing. Yeah, you rushed it 11 times. You only had 28 total yards, and you only had 2 total touchdowns. I mean, that's not good.
At all.
That's not good at all. I mean, obviously you're moving the ball with passing, but your
Well,
running
you
game's not
threw it
doing.
for 68 times.
Yeah, I mean you're gonna when Goff throws the ball 68 times and only has 2 total touchdowns, there's something wrong.
Something is the matter.
Okay.
But they got a little closer. They ran it, but that's
Let's
just.
hear for Jameis Winston, though.
Okay.
Goff.
Let's go.
Yeah,
let's
but
see
he
what.
don't get paid like that.
Let's see. All right, let's go to the receivers on both sides. All right. Let's go over. Robert Woods, 13 receptions, 164 receiving yards, no touchdowns. He had the longest pass was 37.
Mm-hmm.
He had the longest pass of the day for them.
Mm-hmm.
He had 15 targets though, which is
Mhm.
good. You like to see that. Cooper
Mhm.
Kupp
Him and
also
Cooper, yeah.
also 15 targets, 121 yards, 9 receptions.
Mm-hmm.
Behind that, you got Brandon Cooks, 9 targets, 6 receptions, 71 yards, and his longest was 23. And so who had our 2 touchdowns? You would say Cooper Kupp and Everett,
Mhm.
tight end.
Mm-hmm. And just pointing out, Todd Gurley had 11 receptions and only 5 rushes. Like, I'm not saying he can't do it, but I know you're playing from behind too. But that doesn't make you need to establish that run game.
Yeah.
Especially with Todd Gurley, you have to.
That's how you keep games closer together and to keep the
Mhm.
score low.
And then ask your defense to please do something.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Godwin.
14 targets, 12 receptions, 172 total receiving yards, 2
and
touchdowns. That's a crazy
I would
game.
really hate myself if I left that guy on my bench. And then you have Mike Evans too over there with 89 and a touchdown. What? You want to tell our fans something?
You want to tell us who you had on the bench
No
for,
one.
2 touchdowns, 172 yards?
He was questionable.
Yeah,
So was your decision making.
so was your decision making. All right.
I was sitting there just staring at that like, dang it.
So if it wasn't for Godwin with 172 yards and 2 touchdowns, the guy behind it had half the amount of targets with 7, Mike Evans.
And almost half the yards.
Yes.
He got 67 on 1 catch.
Yeah, obviously, was it, long ball.
Yeah.
But, him and Cameron Brate both had a touchdown apiece. But it
So
looks...
did Sue. Sue had a touchdown, too, on defense.
Oh, my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of receivers are going to be happy for LA or Tampa Bay. If you have one of those, you're good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go to the Russian side for Tampa Bay. Rojo, Ronald Jones, 19 carries, 70 total yards, and 1 touchdown. His longest run was 24. Peyton Barber, 9 carries, 19 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. And that's about it. That's about it for the rushing game for Tampa Bay. They don't really have any, big Russian guys, but when they're passing the ball like that, it helps. It does help out, Ronald Jones and Peyton Barber.
I mean, because they had the rushing game, and then their defense just kept on putting pressure on Goff.
Yeah, their defense is
They
they're
both got
good.
touchdown
Their
apiece,
defense is
didn't they?
good.
They both got touchdown apiece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peyton Barber and Sylvan.
So that helps
You're right.
out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go to our next game we got here.
What do you want to do next game?
Let's see here. Oh no, let's go see who they're playing this week. Who do you have for? Who does Tampa Bay play this week?
Tampa Bay is playing New Orleans.
New
at
Orleans.
1 o'clock.
That should be a pretty good game.
Pretty good game, division rivals. At New Orleans, I don't see them losing. There's just
Last year they put up a pretty good game against New Orleans.
And Teddy Bridgewater is giving the Saints their value for the amounts of money they paid him, because he is the highest paid backup quarterback in the league. And he's moving the ball. He's doing just fine. I mean, nothing fancy, nothing great, but he's not losing.
Yeah.
And if you just beat the Cowboys, I don't see why you can't beat the Bucks. But,
So the Rams.
Yeah.
Who the Rams play this week?
Oh, the Rams are going to go and play. That's the wrong LA team. They might have a bye week.
Might have a bye week.
No, they don't. I'll tell you right now. Oh, it's tonight. I forgot.
Oh yeah.
Seattle.
Tonight's big game.
Talk
Thursday
about
night
that
game.
guys.
Yeah,
What do
you
y'all
want to
think?
go ahead and give a recap of it.
From last week, well, we gave the Rams, so let's give a little recap of
Seahawks.
Seattle.
Yeah, let me go ahead and bring their stats up real quick. Chris Carson had a good game. I know that for sure.
Didn't fumble.
Didn't fumble. That's one thing.
Yeah, that's key.
That's the key
Not
for them.
really. Arizona. Clowney had a touchdown. That was nice.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I like seeing whenever a player leaves a team to go to where you can see he's happier.
Yeah,
He
where he-
likes, it's fun to watch him, and he got the touchdown, and bless Kyler Murray. He only played 14 games in college, and now all these guys are just
Man-childs.
he really is. I mean, but he's
He got thrown into it.
yeah.
So you want me to go over some stats here? Let's go.
Just Russell Wilson, 28 attempts, 22 completions, 240, 1 interception. Kyler Murray on the other side, about the same game, 22 completions, 32 tries, 241 yards, no interceptions. Then you go Chris Carson had 22 carries, 104 yards. David Johnson, 11 carries, 40 yards. But then you also have David Johnson, 11 yards, 11 receptions, 99, yards. And for Seattle, Disley, 8 receptions, 57 yards, 1 touchdown.
Like, Will Disley's back on the map, guys.
As usual, yeah.
Like Will Disley doing Will
Yeah.
Disley things.
Yeah, he's been getting targets the last 3 games, touchdowns. after
Yeah, he's been
touchdowns,
taking a lot of that
targets.
targets away from Tyler Lockett and
Yes.
everybody else, basically.
Yeah, I mean, Carson had 4 targets. Lockett had 4 targets. Difference is that Lockett got 10 more yards at 51 and 41. But still, Lockett is. If you own him in fantasy football, if you guys are listening, just drop him. He's not good. I think the hype is over. Just drop
Lockett?
Lockett. Yeah.
I'll keep him, buddy. I'm
Obviously,
sorry.
we're only talking in
Yeah.
Norman's case. But
Yeah, only him.
we'll go ahead and tell you, Will Disley and Russell Wilson have a chemistry like no other in the NFL.
Really? No other, you think?
Yeah, because I would say 2 years ago I had Jimmy Graham on my team as a tight end, and
that's your fault.
He went off. He went off. He went off 2 years ago. Again, he played for Seattle. He had 10 touchdowns and like 800 receiving yards. I was so happy. Will Dissly is going to have a big year with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson loves tight ends, and Will Dissly is a great tight end. He works great there, but the thing is he gets hurt a little bit, a lot, right? He's been hurt a couple times already. So just to see if he's healthy, you start him because he's gonna produce for you.
Yeah.
Arizona receiving, Larry Fitzgerald. 5 targets, 5 receptions, 47 yards.
He's a second leading receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's good. Kyle Murray got him back on the map.
Yeah.
He's always been on the map.
He's disappeared for a couple of years. Last 3 years?
No, last 2 years.
2 years.
Last 3 years.
Since
3 years ago,
Palmer?
he had a great year.
Since Carson Palmer.
Yeah. 11 targets for David Johnson, 8 receptions, 99 receiving yards, which is great. You'd like to see from, David Johnson. Christian Kirk, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 37 receiving yards, and nobody else really, shines other than those guys.
So how about tonight then?
All right, so tonight we got Seattle and LA. Big game. Big game. So we're gonna
back.
I'm gonna say, let's give a score real quick.
So Seattle is favored by 1.5.
Okay.
And like I said, LA looked pretty bad. They scored some points.
Yeah, they scored a lot of points.
They didn't look that great. I'm gonna say Seahawks 27, Rams 23.
I'm going to say Rams 24, Seahawks 21.
Okay.
I'm going to say Seahawks 35, Rams 21.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a whooping. That's something. I
If
think
Seahawks
Seattle.
defense show up, I think the Seahawks will be fine. Their offense is.
But they have been all year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like as long as their defense shows up, they didn't. New Orleans, Seattle's defense did not show up.
But that was a breeze.
Yeah. No, it was Teddy Bridgewater's first game.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so we'll see.
All right.
Yeah.
So next game we got here, New England Patriots, Buffalo Bills. Let's go ahead and recap that. All right. Tom Brady, 18 for 39, 150 passing yards, 1 interception. You don't like to see that from Tom.
That's crazy.
You don't like to see that from Tom. Josh Allen, 13 for 28, 153 passing yards, 3 interceptions, no touchdowns. Matt Barkley, 9 for 16, 127, 1 interception. So
we got to give the quarterbacks a little bit of break here because, New England's defense is like.
New England's defense is good, but Buffalo's defense is good
That's
too.
really good.
Buffalo's
It's really
defense is good too.
They were undefeated for a reason, and they barely lost to the defending champions.
Yeah.
And they showed that they could play with them.
And they have a backup quarterback in there.
All right, so let's go to the main part, the rushing part of both sides of the game. All right, so Sony Michel, 17 carries, 63 yards, 0 touchdowns. Philip Dorsett, 1 carry, 9 total yards, no touchdown.
They're irrelevant there. And then you go to Frank Gore.
Frank Gore, 17 carries, 109 yards, and then he surpassed. Who did he surpass?
I forget now.
Barry? Was it Barry Sanders?
I don't remember. But yeah,
he's moving up in the all-time rushing leaders list. He's doing great.
Well, he's been playing for 35 years.
Yeah, he's 60 years old.
But
he plays.
He plays well. I mean, he plays well. That line is good. I hate to see Josh Allen go down. Buffalo, they built the team the right way. Defense, they're not a bunch of prima donnas. They play hard, and they need Josh Allen. But it's a divisional game too. I'll never stop saying that they know each other really well.
I would like to say, New England side of the part, they just escaped probably one of their hardest matchups all year because now they're going against Washington, who 0-4. You ain't got to worry about anything with Dwayne Haskins, because who are you going to throw in there to throw interceptions? Dwayne Haskins or Case Keenum? Well, we'll just pick today, because it's just going to be a bad day for the Redskins.
They don't even throw the ball at all. Just run it.
And then Buffalo's got another tough matchup coming up this week. They're playing the Titans. Titans have been playing really well this year at the start of the season, we could say. But let's go ahead and focus on that game first. Buffalo and the Titans. What do you think? What do you give me a score real quick, Albert?
Is Allen going to play?
I'm not sure if he is or if he isn't.
He got hit pretty hard in the head.
Yeah, last time I heard he was in
gonna
concussion
play.
protocol.
Right.
If he plays, their chances are a lot better with him playing. But
if he doesn't, then I'm going to go 16-10 again.
16-10 again, I like that.
Tennessee wins.
Tennessee. I'm gonna go. If he doesn't play, I'm gonna go ahead and say it's a blowout, 24-10. Like it's gonna be a 2-touchdown margin.
Yeah, but
That's a blowout. To me.
I just don't.
If he does play, though, what do you think the score would be?
If he does play, it'll be a lot closer. I think you can say both defenses are
Think
kind of
Tennessee
good.
still wins?
I think they win, but I don't think it's by a lot. I think it's like 17-14. I think it's a better game.
I think if he plays, they'll win it. If he doesn't, they'll lose.
I don't think he's gonna play. I don't think he's gonna play. I hate to say it. I hope he's okay, but
I mean, he ran out to the locker room.
to the medical tent.
Yeah.
But his presence obviously will impact the numbers on offense, but I don't think they'll impact the numbers on defense. So I don't think that by him now. Actually, if they get a 2-touchdown lead, they might just run the ball on them, and then it just moves quicker.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, maybe like for you, two scores you said, maybe like a 17-3.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it'll be like I said. I think it'll be 16-10, but they lose without him.
Okay.
I'd say. Then we also have what game you want next?
All right.
Broncos at Chargers.
Broncos and Chargers. Let me bring that up real quick.
That one's gonna be good. Rivalry game. Phillip Rivers. He's a little depleted. It's like everybody's going down for
You talking about week 5 or week 4?
Week 5.
this next week.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and move into week 5.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
All right, so Broncos and Chargers. Here we go. All right. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So they have LA is predicted. They have a 65% chance of winning, and Denver only has a 34% chance of winning. Denver hasn't looked good all year.
Yeah.
They haven't looked good all year.
Personally, the Chargers should walk away with this. It should be an easy.
I don't
easy
under-
week.
I mean, a big thing for me is I don't understand why they're giving Royce Freeman a lot more. Like, he's getting a bulk of the carries. Like,
because last year Phillip kind of slowed down towards the end.
Mhm.
They want to keep him healthy, and they drafted Royce ahead of Phillip, so they want to see what they got in.
there we go. There's some stats for you. Joe Flacco has been 96 for 148 for 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Phillip Rivers, on the other hand, has been 101 for 146 with 1,254 total yards passing, 7 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Philip Lindsay has hit 54 carries so far this year, 213 yards, 2 touchdowns. Austin Eckler, on the other hand, has had 56 carries, 230 yards total, and 3 touchdowns. Cortland Sutton, 22 receptions, 308 yards, 2 touchdowns. Keenan Allen, 34 receptions all year, 452 yards, and 3 total touchdowns. So, some studs on both sides of the field.
I don't see Denver winning.
Here's some questionable for us.
Melvin coming back too.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
coming back, you got Melvin Gordon.
How do you guys feel that backfield's going to work now? 50-50?
I think Eckler still holds.
Nah, I think Gordon starts. I think
Really?
Gordon
That's what
starts.
the coach said.
Gordon
Oh,
starts.
wow.
I think he starts, and I think Eckler gets a lot of touches out of the backfield for third downs.
A lot of
all
satellite
that
stuff.
work he's been doing
Yeah.
and been for nothing.
I know. It don't make no sense. Justin Jackson's doubtful this game. Mike Williams is questionable. Travis Benjamin's questionable all of it, as well. Thomas Davis, Carolina Panther,
Right.
questionable. Let's go ahead and give our predictions of scores. All right, Chargers. I got. Let's see. I think it'd
30.
be 34, and Broncos. I would say 21.
I'm gonna say 30-17.
Oh wow. I'm gonna say.
Chargers winning.
Yeah.
that is.
Obviously. But it's still closer than I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's gonna be a blowout. Like
34 to 21
That's
is
two
pretty
scores.
38-7. Yeah.
good. You think it's gonna be that bad?
I think they're gonna blow them away.
Okay.
I personally do. I mean, I do.
They're
should.
division rivals. They play each other twice a year.
We'll see what happens.
Melvin
What
Gordon. Let's go ahead and give
I'm
us
very
stats.
confident with that.
Let's go
Owen
ahead.
Gordon first came back.
Over under.
You have to ease them in. I'm gonna say over under on how about rush attempts? 17 over under.
I think he goes off.
You think so?
I
I
think
thi-
he goes off.
Okay. You think so too?
I think the attempts are there. What you're saying, but I think he can
no,
great.
I was asking you guys over like 17.
I would say
see
he
him-
needs to go off.
You over
because
under
Eckler's right
17 is
there.
what
I'm gonna say that he probably gets 17 carries, 16 carries.
Yeah. I was going to say 17 total
he
touches,
gets
but I was going to say
touchdown?
125 total yards and 2 touchdowns.
I
Two
can see it.
touchdowns. I can see it.
I can see it. What do you say?
I think he scores
I
the
think he
first
has to go
touchdown of the
off.
game.
If he doesn't go off, because Eckler's right there, he has to go off.
He has to have a big game.
He
If
has
not,
to.
they'll put him on the bench.
Yeah, he
Eckler will
has
get
to
the
go
bulk of the
off.
load.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
You know what we haven't touched yet?
what?
Browns
Ravens.
and Ravens.
Let's go ahead and pick it up.
That game, there was a final of 40-25. All is talking about Baltimore. Then last week, it did. I mean, it has been a difficult schedule here past few games, but
There's your stats.
you played Kansas City the week prior, and you lose. I mean, Kansas City's better.
Good game though.
You know, yeah,
Good game.
They only lost by 5.
Only lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
game.
Mhm. And now you play Cleveland, who at that point coming in, they were 1-2. Baltimore was favored by a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden your defense is non-existent, and they rush all over you.
No,
Big Chubb.
no, not that the defense has been non-existent.
They attack
They
their
have been
run.
non-existent for 2 weeks because Kansas
Mhm.
City ran all over them too.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb, dude.
They kept running to the right, picking up their left side weakness on defense.
Yeah.
And Nick Chubb just
Ran all over them. Let's go ahead and
He
look
had
at the
that
carries.
80-yard run.
Let's see.
20
Nick Chubb.
carries.
Go ahead and give it out.
20 carries, 165 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns.
88 yards.
An 88 long takeaway.
Mhm.
Even Baker Mayfield looked good. 20 for 30 and 342. That, and then Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
3
mean-
picks.
Jarvis Landry.
No, he had 2 picks. He had 3 touchdowns.
Oh, I see what's going on here. Let's move to the right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Jarvis Landry. How about Odell Beckham?
Getting in a fight with Marlon Humphreys.
Getting choked out. And then only having 2
doing
yards, 2
nothing.
receptions. For
7
20.
targets
Yeah.
too, and doing nothing
Doing
else with it.
nothing.
I don't understand why you're throwing the ball more to Landry than Odell. You went and got this guy.
I'm happy with it.
Throw
I
him the
like it.
ball.
I like it.
You
If they're
have to.
successful, they'll win.
Yeah, but you have to throw him the ball. You have to put it up there so you can grab it. Like, I saw an article that said that you never strayed away from Jerry Rice, Randy Moss. You always give him the ball. T.O., you give him the ball. Odell, you give him the ball. He had less targets than Landry.
Yeah. He had less targets than Landry. Had a lot less receptions than Landry. A lot less yards than Landry.
And I know that players talk junk to Odell. He gets mad and he talks back. He's immature.
It's like his mental game is not there.
It's not, and you know that's why I think he wanted to leave New York is because
to get right.
he couldn't handle all that pressure.
Yeah.
He doesn't do well whenever he's asked to do something or whenever they're trying to get in his head. Like he's easily persuaded into getting mad. If you push his buttons, that's it. His game is off.
Yeah.
And it's sad. I mean, don't talk back to him.
Like that year with Josh Norman and Odell. Like
Yeah.
A while back.
I mean, even back then that would happen.
It was crazy.
I mean, he spent more time trying to wrestle this guy off of him instead of just trying to get the ball.
But in that game, he did have a good game.
Well, he
against-
had like two
Two touchdowns
plays,
and-
you know?
yeah.
But other than that, I mean, he got in his head. He got beat. You know, he beat him twice, but
I remember
Yeah.
the Panthers were beating them bad, and the Giants came all the way back and the Panthers won by field goal.
So let's go ahead and look here. The Ravens play the Steelers this week, and the Browns play. Oh, the Browns have about. Oh no, they're
They
the
play
Monday
the
night game.
49ers.
They play the 49ers.
Who are undefeated, by the way.
49ers are undefeated. They're playing really well. Let's go ahead and talk about that game. That's
they
gonna be
haven't
our.
played anybody yet.
Yeah.
I know the Browns are going to win, in my opinion.
They have San Francisco favored 72% to win that game.
Wow. That's
72% to
crazy.
win that game. All right, let's look at this. Jimmy Garoppolo, 739 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Baker Mayfield, almost 1,200 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So that's a pretty bad ratio on Baker. Okay. Nick Chubb, 78 carries, almost 400 total yards rushing, and 4 touchdowns. Looking really good. Matt Breida, 41 carries, 226 yards. Jarvis Landry, 18 receptions, 328 yards. George Kittle, 17 receptions, 165 yards. I mean, if you look at the stats, San Francisco's only played 3 games. Cleveland's playing their 5th game.
Their second primetime game too.
Yeah.
And he didn't do so well last time against the Jets. I think he kind of comes back and plays a little bit better.
Yeah.
But the Browns secondary isn't that good right now. They're hurt. I think they try to take advantage of that. But I just really don't. I see the Browns winning. I don't care where they're playing.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 31-24.
It's a good score. I'm going to say, I think the score's a little bit lower because defenses. I think both defenses are
I can
good.
see that.
I'm going to say 27-24, Cleveland.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 27-17.
I can see that.
Browns.
I can see all those.
Okay.
And you're right.
Let's go ahead and give the stats here. Nick Chubb over under 150 total yards.
Oh, under.
Under?
Yeah, he won't.
He won't have a game like last
No,
week.
I think he
agree.
goes back to like 80 yards rushing.
I'm thinking about like
Is he under 100?
so
Yeah.
so over. Let's go back. Over under 125 yards.
Under
Still.
He says under 100.
I'm talking about total yards, receiving
total yards.
I am
and
too.
rushing.
Wow.
You think under 100 yards total?
I say he'll get
big
about
game?
102 total. Something like that.
102. What a weird number to
Yeah.
just talk about.
was just thinking
2.25.
Okay. I think he has the biggest game of them all. I think he has 125 total yards. So even or more, and I think he has 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think the big game goes out to Odell.
You think Odell tears up that
I think
secondary?
he comes back, plays well. He has to.
Is Jarvis okay? He was hurt last game.
He's right.
Is
He's
he okay?
a juice. He's a juice.
Juiced.
The juice
I'm
don't
juiced
stop.
up.
So how do you think Jarvis is going to play?
If you're asking me if you want to start him on your team, I would definitely start
I'm
him.
not going to start on my team. I have too many good wide receivers.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm gonna
And
say 70-something yards.
George Kittle. Over under 100 yards.
That is going to be, I think, over 100. I think Kittle will outperform Chubb.
One touchdown over under.
Over.
You think he has 2 or 1?
I'll say
One.
under.
So, okay. Matt Breida,
Mm,
over under 100 yards.
under.
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 Touchdown, over under 1.
Maybe
1.
1, okay.
1.
So,
One,
big
one,
game
one.
for both offenses there. A lot of
Yep.
points scored.
It is. It really is. It'll be a fun one. It'll be a good one Monday night. I want Cleveland to finally expose San Francisco.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
can see that. All right, so let's go back to another game here. All right, week 5. All right, so we were just on the topic of the Browns, and let's go to the Steelers and
How about Indy? Oh yeah, you want to do Steelers?
Steelers and Ravens?
Okay.
Yeah.
Be a good game.
And then
Talk
we'll
about
jump to Indy and Kansas City.
that is a toss-up. They have Baltimore winning it by 55%, and then they have Pittsburgh at 44%. So
Yeah,
they got
as-
Baltimore winning.
As Baltimore's been playing, though, I don't know.
All right, so
No.
let's go ahead and give a score update. Let's go ahead and give a score
Prediction?
preview prediction.
I'm gonna say Ravens come back, bounce back. They have to. They're gonna go up. They hate the Steelers. 35 to 21. Ravens.
I think James Conner's going to go off this.
I think James Conner has a big game this game,
I think so too.
but
I
I
think so,
think
too.
he's the only one that has a good game.
I think so too.
That's what's going to hurt us. And I think Juju, I think he gets the targets and the yards, but I don't think he gets a touchdown. I don't. I think Juju gets, 9 targets, 7 receptions, and I would say 80 yards, but no touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Mason Rudolph, I don't think he's ready to throw the ball down the field.
Not against this defense. I know I know this defense is a free for all right now. They're not playing well.
Yeah.
However, they're still better than what they've been doing, and they're gonna give him plenty of looks. They're gonna bum rush him. They're gonna try to stop something. Just double cover Juju, try to contain Connor, and just get in Mason's
I think
face.
Connor goes off.
I think he does.
I think
too.
I think total yardage, I could say over. I think 125 is a good number for him, and I think 2 touchdowns.
So
I see.
125 scrimmage yards and
2 touchdowns.
TDs.
I think that's a good number for him.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mark Ingram, I don't think he has that good of a game against the Pittsburgh front 7, but I think Lamar Jackson and I think he throws about 3 touchdowns. I think he throws an interception because you got a better secondary.
Mm-hmm. I think Mike Thomas gonna get your team going. He's gonna get you fired up. You just won.
Yeah.
On Monday night. Don't stop now.
If Mason Rudolph, if he starts throwing the ball down the field, watch out because then you got the weapons around you. Mm-hmm. You just got to throw the ball down the field.
Played Bengals. They played the Bengals.
Yeah.
They did.
And the Cowboys lost to the Saints, so backup quarterback. So we're just gonna talk about that.
Yeah. So, it could be closer than what it's gonna be, but I still think that Mark Ingram, Lamar Jackson, Hollywood Brown.
This is another division game.
Exactly.
It's gonna be. I think.
But Baltimore's pissed.
I think Baltimore's pissed, and I think Pittsburgh's on a high roll right now because they just beat Cincinnati.
Yeah. Well,
I
they're
think
still 1-3.
Well, yeah, it's 1-3, but I would like to see my Pittsburgh Steelers go out there and
we know what you like to see.
win.
We know what you want.
I'm gonna say my score.
Here you go.
24.
21.
24 to 17.
Oh, and let me guess. Pittsburgh. Oh.
I think Pittsburgh's defense is a lot better than what people give them credit.
We're not saying they're bad.
No, but I think that's what's holding them above water right now, and I think they're gonna beat the Baltimore Ravens. Albert.
I say
Okay.
24-14
Okay.
Ravens.
24-14. That's low scoring.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of scoring for. I don't think Lamar Jackson scores a lot this game.
Yeah.
I think their defense is. Well, Lamar Jackson ain't played. What defenses has he played this year?
Okay, the Dolphins, good defense.
Yeah. Come on, keep it coming. Keep
And
it.
then,
Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Great defense.
Good defense.
That's gonna be by Detroit.
Who?
The Kansas
Detroit
City.
though, they're not that bad. And then last week who they get? The Browns. Good defense again. So I don't know what you guys trying to prove here. Clearly,
They're the better team.
They're the better team. All right.
Next game.
Indy at Kansas City.
Let's go ahead and go over it.
Chiefs are favored by 10.5. They won't have T.Y. Hilton. Jacoby's not gonna have T.Y. Hilton. That's gonna be
Eric Ebron.
Eric Ebron, anything?
Look at this. Look at this spread. 80% is voting towards Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. All right.
And then Patty Mahomes is a Sunday night game.
10 touchdowns, no interceptions. 10 touchdowns, no interceptions.
No
He's on
interceptions.
pace to break his old record probably.
1,500 yards. The Dolphins have less passing yards all season than he did in his first game.
That's horrible. That's horrible.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go over some numbers here. LaShawn McCoy, 40 carries, 214 total yards, 2 touchdowns. I like Darrell Williams.
I do too.
I think he gets a bulk of that goal line touches. I like him. He's a big back. Marlon Mack, 72 carries, 328 yards, 2 touchdowns. T.Y. Hilton, 20 receptions, 195 yards, 4 total touchdowns.
He's not playing. He don't matter.
He don't play. Travis Kelce, 24 receptions, 369 yards, 1 touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Jacoby Brissett, 90 for 138, 911 total yards. Passing yards, that's not that good. 10 total touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So, touchdowns are there for Brissett with the weapons. You got Ebron, you had Hilton for the first couple games. You had, Jack Doyle, who's on, hurt right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, without those 2 weapons, it's just a walkthrough with Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
If they can do good against Andy's defense, it'll be a blowout game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's your predictions?
35-17, Kansas City.
I'm gonna say 30-10, Kansas City.
I'm gonna go like a 42-20.
I was
Okay.
thinking that too, but I don't want to go too high.
I want to go high.
Okay. Let's go ahead and give out some touchdowns from Patrick Mahomes. All right. Let's see.
Kelsey gets one.
I think Kelce gets one. I think Watkins gets one. I think Darrell Williams will get a goal line
Maybe
touch.
Hill. Maybe Tyreek Hill.
If Tyreek Hill plays, I think I don't know if he'll get a touchdown. I don't.
Maybe.
He just broke his collarbone and he's coming back.
Saquon is gonna come back next week.
You think so?
They say.
Okay.
His fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I think Darrell Williams has another touchdown. I think McCoy has a touchdown. There's 2 right there. I think Kelce has a touchdown, and I think Watkins has a touchdown.
I think Robinson has a touchdown. Robinson,
What about Hardman?
Kelsey, Hardman, and McCoy.
McCoy.
He's on my 4.
He
Okay.
got 42 points. Where's the other ones?
Russian.
Darrell Williams.
Darrell
Darrell
Williams and
Williams.
McCoy.
Darrell Williams.
That's David Johnson. Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it.
Darrell Williams is on my fantasy team, and I'm loving him. He's doing pretty good, so I'm gonna keep him going. I'm rolling the bus high. All right, let's go to the next game. You shut your mouth.
That's it, really. When you got one more game, it's be Pats at Redskins. And other than that, we are done.
Pats at Redskins. Oh yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that
That's-
game. All right. Washington's favored. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
New England is favored 85% to win this game. If you don't think they'll win this game, don't watch football. I think Tom Brady has 3 passing touchdowns this game. I think 2 of them come to the running back, James White.
No Gordon, no Welker. I mean, not Welker. Edelman.
I think Gordon has 1. I think James White has 1, and I think Sonny Michel has 2 rushing touchdowns. I think they put up 5 total touchdowns, but I think James White gets 2 of them.
How many
And,
interceptions can he keep throwing?
well,
is it going to be Keenum or
Here's the one. It don't matter. Who's
If-
the
if-
interception?
okay, so whoever throws the most interceptions is going to get pulled in the first half. And basically, it's going to be the second half for Haskins or the second half for Keenum.
I say you have to start Keenum. You have to start Keenum. He's better. Haskins is not ready.
Yeah, he's not ready.
And don't put him in against this defense. You just drafted him. He's not used to losing. Keep him on the bench. Like he don't need to come in and get humiliated
This is
by the Pats.
This is the last stop for Sonny Michel if he does not have a really good game. Like, you're starting to question his fantasy value for your team.
So you're gonna drop him
I don't have him on my
or
team.
trade him?
I don't have him on my team.
No, I
But
mean, if you
I
have
would,
him.
I would sell. I would definitely sell on him.
You gonna sell low then?
You would have to if you. I mean, you can get a wide receiver for him if you need a wide receiver, maybe a number 2.
That's always been an issue with Patriots running backs. You never know when to play them, and then when they start doing bad, you bench them, and then they have a great game.
Last year he started out really great, and then he fell off,
But that
and then
was-
he got on back
And
track.
that was his only good season. I mean, I know they just drafted him, but that's not that's not. They don't want to make anybody too important in that offense.
Other than
except
Tom Brady. Yeah.
there's no point. There's
mean-
no point at all.
I think he has 2. Actually, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna say he has 2 touchdowns because they're gonna be up and they're gonna be pounding the ball. Just running it the whole time.
I think Rex Burkhead does.
You think Rex Burkhead takes over
I mean, he has a touchdown this week. Not Michelle.
a goal line?
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's not much to talk about between this game, but that it's just gonna be a butt whooping.
Yeah, 41-13.
Score
42-7.
42-7.
They won't raise it up that high.
No, they won't.
They ran a
They
score
won't.
by Miami.
No. 35-14. 35-14.
Just saying.
Yeah, they did run it up on Miami, but Miami
But they
is
did give
in their
2
division
interceptions
though.
back to
Well,
back.
Miami is in their conference.
And we beat them last time. So
And
that's
no,
fine. We did.
Miami beat them on a Hail Mary play last
Yeah.
time. That should have never happened.
Did we beat them or did we lose?
Gronk don't have the angle.
Gronk didn't have the angle. Gronk fell down. That's not fair.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll leave it at
They're
that.
going to win this year, though.
I don't want them to.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Tune in to us next week, next Thursday, same time, 12 o'clock. Like, subscribe. Please share our video. Talk about us. Leave a comment.
Go watch the Joker tonight.
Oh, yes. Yay.
All right, fellas. Bye-bye.
Have a
All
good
right.
one.
Y'all have a good night.